Well, the cost of living crisis is continuing to put pressure on families after reports that a third of families identified childcare costs as one of their most expensive outgoings. I think that seems pretty reasonable. The Liz Truss government had identified childcare reform as one of the key supply-side reforms to alleviate pressure on families. However, today it's been reported that Rishi Sunak is set to shelve these reforms. Now, last month, the think tank Onward published their own reports into what should be done. Joining me now to discuss the potential change of course and Onward's report is the Deputy Director of Onward, Adam Hawksbee. Adam, let's just deal with the facts first, OK? Why should people care about this?
Yeah. Well, they should care about it for a couple of reasons. One is because massively high childcare costs are reducing the number of workers we've got in the economy. So we know about a third of parents say that they have considered leaving work or their partner might leave work because they need to look after their kids, they can't afford childcare. But the other big reason is because it undermines strong families. I think that's one of the reasons it's popular with people on the centre right. We know that 50% of people say they considered having kids later because of the high costs of childcare. We want strong families, we want plenty of workers, then we need to be subsidising this. And right now we don't invest enough.
OK, fair enough. One of the things that I'm concerned about is a bit of a gulf here between people who are maybe right at the very bottom of our economic spectrum, who are on benefits, right? And the people right at the very top, you know, you're uber rich, you don't really have to worry about anything financially. You can argue the vast majority of people in the squishy middle ground there, are they the ones who now potentially can just not really afford to have kids?
So there is a big problem here with the kind of squeezed middle. So a lot of people that are on universal credit will have a childcare component of that will be part of their broader benefits. It's the people that fall in that bracket where they might get the 15 hours entitlement, the 13 hours entitlement, which is massively complex. It's really difficult to claim for. Things like tax-free childcare. There are 1.3 million people that are eligible for that, exactly the group you're talking about, Patrick, and only 300,000 people claim that. So it's those people in the middle that are missing out on the benefits or the subsidies they're entitled to, and they're the people who are leaving the workforce. So they are the people we need to be targeting, yes.
Now, a lot of people, especially a lot of our viewers and our listeners, think that the state is too big anyway, there are too many benefits, and that Rishi Sunak maybe paying for people to, quotes unquote, have kids they can't afford would be wrong. So people might support what Rishi Sunak is doing here. How would you respond to that?
So Liz Truss is no left-winger, and there's a reason that she was really emphasising these sorts of reforms, right? And why she framed them as a supply-side reform. It's because one of the big things holding back growth in this country is the number of people that are working. And one of the reasons they're not working, not the only one, but one of them, is because looking after children takes up too much of their time. They're not able to take the part-time job they might want to. They're not able to take the promotion they might want to, but they'd be paying more taxes that would bring more money into the exchequer. So that's why people on the right, on the centre right, should care about this issue.
No, I think this is fascinating stuff. Now, I don't know if you got the answer to this, but it's just purely anecdotal. Are there cultural differences? Because in some cultures, it's maybe slightly more accepted for the wife to have what you could argue is maybe a more traditional role within the home, i.e. staying at home, right? Some would say that's outdated, of course. Whereas perhaps in other cultures, it's the wife, well, just, I suppose the woman and the man are equal, right? So they can go out and work and all of this stuff. Are there cultural differences when it comes to the amount of people having the amount of kids that they do?
So there's certainly a cultural difference in terms of the amount that we invest in order to support those sorts of decisions. So we see that in Nordic countries, in particular, in places like Sweden and Denmark, they invest in this a lot more. But actually, culturally, what a lot of countries are doing is moving away from paternity and maternity leave to just parental leave. And one of the things we recommended is you have a single set of parental leave for parents and let parents decide whether that's a mum and a dad and a dad, a mum and a mum. They can say, all right, you take 9 months, I'll take 3, or we'll take 6 each, or one takes 12 months and one takes none. The key thing here is about choice. It's about flexibility. That's a key principle that any Conservative should have, that parents should decide how they divvy these things up as opposed to the state prescribing it on them based on gender.
How expensive is childcare?
Enormously expensive. So the average parent pays for a 0 to 2 year old about 140 quid a week. That's about double the weekly shop. And that's gone up by about 20% in the past year or so. So it's past 5 years, sorry. So it's expensive and it's going up even more. And the average parents jointly spend about 26% of their income on childcare. That is 3 times the OECD average, the average of other wealthy countries, which is more like 9%. So it is expensive, and it's particularly expensive here.
Yeah, so that's the thing, isn't it? Because when you add in the fact that people will have mortgage repayments, they've got energy bills, and they've got whatever else outgoings that they do have, just normal stuff, life stuff, right? When you add a child into the mix there, and I don't know about your personal circumstances, I don't need to know, of course, but I don't mind revealing mine, which is that one of the main reasons why I am yet to have a child, apart from the fact that I haven't found a woman stupid enough to want to reproduce with me, of course, is that I just couldn't afford it, and the burden on my life would be too vast. I enjoy sitting here too much and having a little bit of capital. I enjoy that a lot more right now than I enjoy having that massive strain on my life. Is that fair, do you think?
Well, Patrick, you and I are part of the 51% of people that are choosing to have kids later, and that's absolutely fine for us, but that is a massive problem. You mentioned in your introduction, our fertility rate as a country is plummeting. And you ask about cultural differences across the Western world, and this is very different to some Asian countries. We've got a massive demographic time bomb where we've got this lump of people, the kind of boomer generation, who are going to need social care, and a lack of people that are taxpayers that are younger. So it might be fine for you and me to make that decision, but if everyone makes that decision, we're going to be in big trouble.
Very quickly, very finally, is it easy to be on the take? Is it easy to be unemployed and have loads of kids and get the states to pay for them?
No, I think, to be honest, the benefits for people, particularly as they've been eroded by inflation, make that life pretty tricky. But actually, as someone on the centre right, I think that it is better for those individuals to be in work. They live more fulfilling lives in which they can realise their potential. And so what we should be doing is trying to help them get into work in whatever way we can.
Go for growth. Go for reproduction. Adam, thank you very, very much. Adam Hawksbee there, director of Onward, Deputy Director of Onward. Sorry, I promoted him there, although I think it's only a matter of time with Adam, isn't it?